If you're in your 40s right now, I'm going to be brutally honest with you. You are running out of time to make silly financial mistakes. The stuff you could get away with in your 20s will permanently damage your retirement now. I review personal finances for a living. And there is one specific mistake, number 7 on my list today, that is costing the average UK worker roughly £300,000 in lost wealth. And most of them have absolutely no idea they're doing it. So today, we need to talk about the 9 money traps people fall into during their 40s, and exactly how you fix them before it's too late. Your 40s are arguably the hardest financial decade. On paper, you're hitting your peak earning years, but in reality, you're squeezed dry. You've got a massive mortgage, childcare costs that rival a second salary, and a lifestyle that's somehow become incredibly expensive to maintain. You're the sandwich generation, caught between looking after kids and worrying about aging parents. Every pound you spend or save right now has to work twice as hard. Let's look at where people get it wrong. Mistake number 1. Mistake 1, thinking time is still on your side. When you're 25, retirement is a myth. But when you hit 40, you're likely only 2 decades away from needing your money to replace your salary. Here is a financial lesson they should teach in every school in Britain. Wealth isn't about how much you invest. It's about how long you are invested. If you put £500 a month into a standard global index fund from age 25, you'll likely retire with well over £500,000. If you wake up at 45 and try to hit that same number by 65, you don't just have to double your contribution. You have to invest over £1,500 a month just to catch up. The math is unforgiving. If you've been putting off investing because you're waiting for the right time, stop. The right time was 10 years ago. The second best time is today. Mistake 2, ignoring the UK's best tax hack on-screen text. This one drives me absolutely mad. People get a promotion in their 40s. And what do? They lease a better car. Or they plan a bigger holiday. They never, ever upgrade their pension contributions. But here is the educational bit you need to understand about the UK tax system. If you earn over £50,270, you are a higher rate taxpayer. That means for every £100 you put into your pension, it only actually costs you £60. Because the government hands you back the 40% tax you would have paid. Where else on earth can you get a guaranteed, immediate 40% return on your money? Nowhere. If your employer offers to match your pension up to 8%, and you're only putting in 3%, so you have more cash for the pub, you are quite literally taking a pay cut and handing money back to your boss. Mistake number 3, lifestyle inflation. Or, as I like to call it, the middle class trap. Your salary goes up. And suddenly, Aldi isn't good enough. So you switch to Waitrose. The basic gym becomes David Lloyd. The Ford becomes an Audi. You look at your P60 at the end of the year, see a massive gross income, and wonder why you're still nervously checking your bank app 3 days before payday. Listen to me carefully. A high income does not make you wealthy. A high income just gives you the opportunity to build wealth. Wealth is the money you don't spend. If every pay rise you get is swallowed by a more expensive lifestyle, you are running on a treadmill. You look successful, but you're actually broke at a higher level. Mistake 4. The cash is safe fallacy on screen text. A lot of people hit 40, panic a bit, and decide to hoard cash. They stick £50,000 in a premium bonds account or a high street savings account earning 3%. And they feel safe. Let me be clear over the long term. Cash is the most dangerous asset you can hold. We've just lived through a period of 10% inflation here in the UK. When inflation is higher than your interest rate, your money is actively rotting in the bank. Its purchasing power is being destroyed, yes. Keep a safety net in cash. But anything you don't need for the next 5 years needs to be invested in assets that beat inflation. like a global equities fund inside a tax-free stocks and shares ISA. Otherwise, you are guaranteeing that you'll get poorer safely. Mistake 5. Normalizing toxic debt, especially cars on-screen tech. In the UK right now, we have an absolute epidemic of bad debt, perfectly disguised as affordable monthly payments. I'm looking specifically at car finance here, PCP agreements. I see people in their 40s who have zero investments, but they are paying £600 a month to rent a Range Rover they don't own, heavily loaded with 10% interest. It is financial self-sabotage. If you are carrying high-interest debt credit cards, personal loans, car finance, you need to attack it like your house is on fire. You cannot outinvest 20% credit card interest. Clear the toxic debt. Stop buying depreciating metal on finance to impress people in traffic. And buy your future freedom instead. Mistake 6. Paralyzed by regret. I get emails every week saying I'm 44. I have no savings. Is it too late for me? People are so embarrassed that they haven't got it sorted. They just bury their heads in the sand. But let's look at the reality. State pension age is currently heading towards 67, and probably 68 for most of us watching this. If you are 45 today, you still have over 2 decades of compounding growth ahead of you before you hit the government's retirement age. 20 plus years in the stock market is enough time to completely change your life. The worst thing you can do right now isn't starting late. It's letting the regret of your 30s destroy the potential of your 50s and 60s. Open the ISA. Start today. Mistake 7. Trusting the government on-screen tech. Right. Mistake number 7. The big one. Millions of Brits operate under the delusion that having paid national insurance all their lives, the government will look after them in old age. Let me give you a reality check. The full new state pension is around £11,500 a year, and the government is constantly arguing about how to make it less generous because they can't afford it. Can you pay your energy bills, run a car, feed yourself, and actually enjoy your life on £11,500 a year? To generate a modest extra £15,000 a year for a decent retirement, you need a private pension pot of around £300,000. The state pension is a safety net to keep you out of absolute poverty. It is not a retirement plan. You have to build your own lifeboat. Mistake 8. Living without a buffer. When you're in your 40s, your life infrastructure is huge. And things break. A new boiler in the UK costs about £2,500. The roof leaks. The car fails its MOT. Or worse, your company restructures and you're suddenly out of a job. If you don't have a liquid emergency fund, a £2,000 problem isn't just an inconvenience. It becomes a crisis. You end up putting it on a credit card, and suddenly you're spiraling into debt. Stop trying to invest. Stop trying to overpay the mortgage. Until you have at least 3 to 6 months of absolute basic living expenses sitting in a high-yield, easy access savings account. That cash isn't an investment. It is your financial shock absorber. Mistake 9. Flying blind on-screen tech. Finally, the most basic mistake of all. People will commute 2 hours a day, sit in endless Zoom meetings, and grind for 40 years. But they won't spend 30 minutes figuring out exactly how much money they need to be able to stop. If you don't know your target, how do you know if you're saving enough? Here's a quick educational rule of thumb. It's called the Rule of 25. Figure out how much annual income you want in retirement, let's say £30,000. Subtract the state pension, about £11,000. You need your portfolio to generate £19,000 a year. Multiply £19,000 by 25. Your target number is £475,000. Boom! Now you have a goal. Now you can reverse engineer the math. Stop hoping things will work out. Calculate your number and build a plan to hit it. I know this stuff can feel overwhelming, Personal finance is 20% head knowledge and 80% behavior, but you're in your 40s. You have the earning power, and you still have the time. Take a hard look at your outgoings this week. Check your workplace pension contributions. Figure out your retirement number. Fix these 9 mistakes now. And your 5-year-old self will look back and thank you for taking action. If you appreciate this kind of no-nonsense financial truth, hit subscribe. Leave a comment if you've got a question. And I'll see you in the next one. Take care of your money.
Thanks for watching. For Brits is the way to protect and grow your money in the sky. Supply to the Sterling Gent.